Assalamualaikum and good mornings everyone. My name is Omar Ali bin Maliki, X0928. My supervisor is Dr. Katina Bitrayo. Welcome to my presentation and my viewers. Today, I will presenting the first chapter of my final year's project which focus on the impact of part-time job employers performing on the food and beverage industry. In this chapter, I will discuss the introduction research objective, research question, problem statement, and the significance of the studies. Let's begin. The food and beverage industry plays a vital role in the global economy, providing essential services and employment opportunities. However, one significant challenge faced by the industry is ensuring consistent and efficient employee performance, particularly among the part-time job role. Therefore, understanding the impact of part-time job employment on the employee performance becomes imperative. The primary objective of my study is to investigate the relationship between part-time job employment and employees' performance within the F&B industry. To achieve this objective, I have developed several research questions that will guide my research and analysis. For research objective 1, to examine the relationship between part-time employment and diversity on employees' performance in the F&B industry. For RO2, to identify factors that the relationship between compensation and employee performance in the F&B industry. For RO3, to explore the factor work-life balance influencing the performance of employees in the part-time job in the F&B industry. And RO4, to study relationship working environment between among the employees engaged in part-time work and the performance in the F&B industry. For research question 1 is how does diversity in the workplace affect employee performance in the F&B industry? For research question 2, what is the relationship between compensation and employees' performance in the F&B industry? For research question 3, how does work-life balance influence employees' performance in the F&B industry? What is the impact of the working environment on the employees' performance in the F&B industry? For research question 4. This research question will allow me to delve into the unique dynamic of part-time job employment in the F&B industry and explore its impact on employee performance. By answering this question, I aim to contribute valuable insight to the existing body of knowledge in this field. The problem of segment to the study revolves around the need to improve the performance of part-time job employees in the F&B industry. While a time job role provides flexibility and cost-effective staffing solutions for employees, there are a challenge and a potential drawback that can affect employees' performance as a high turnover rate and low productivity affect the employees' performance. Identifying and addressing this issue can help improve overall efficiency and productivity the industry by understanding the relationship between part-time employment and worker performance. Organizations may develop effective strategies that increase productivity and ensure the wellness of their workforce. The significance of this study lies in the potential to provide valuable insight and recommendation for the industry stakeholders. By understanding the factors influencing part-time job employment and the impact of employees' performance, employees can develop strategies to enhance satisfaction, commitment, and training opportunities for part-time job employees. This in turn can contribute to improve overall performance and customer satisfaction within the F&B industry. To conduct this study, I will employ research design incorporating qualitative surveys. The surveys will provide numerical data related to employees' performance indicators into the experience and challenge faced by part-time job employees in the F&B industry. Fourth chapter is literature reviews on employee performance in the food and beverage industry. The food and beverage industry is known the highly competitive natures and heavily dependent on customer satisfaction, which make employee performance crucial for its success. The importance of this review is to understand the impact of working conditions on employees' performance in the F&B industry, which can help organizations in developing effective strategies for employees' retention, productivity, and performance. Next, its broad concept is like we mentioned before. Its broad concept is part-time. For part-time job is part-time employees differ in the extent to which psychological contracts are fulfilled. For categories for this explanation for these discrepancies were identified. The organization explanation differences in the treatment by the organization, individual explanation differences in the career orientation, and interpersonal explanation differences in the treatment co-workers and supervisors, and explanation relating to the reduced amount of time spent at work. Work-life balance may consequently be impacted by working time arrangements. Hence, we specifically analyze this in our research. For employees' performance, the corporation expects great performance from each person, and the highest performance, they are the more productive in the organization will be overall, enabling it to compete successfully on a worldwide scale. The effectiveness and efficiency with which employees carry out their responsibilities, play their roles, and fulfill their tasks may be used to evaluate how well they are functioning for the organization. Role and function and positively related to the company's success. Employee success and accomplishment at work make up the majority of an employee's performance. For food and beverage, the food industry has a substantial positive effect on the Malaysian economy. Even that there have been many studies on consumption patterns in the food and beverage industry, the analysis that we made put a strong emphasis on elements like the degree of competition, the distinctiveness of the goods and services, and the reputation of the institution. In the current pandemic or post-pandemic dependent on the nation, setting academic and professional knowledge is still comparatively limited, and the topic of consumption pattern is understood. Service providers supply food and beverages to the customer, either off premises where they are intended or on premises where they are actually served, such as the hotel and restaurant. The production of the food and beverage as well as execute the commercial supplies network collectively refer to other food and beverage industry or API in most contexts. For independent theory, we have four theory dominant we find in journal and article related with the part-time job employees performance. The most dominant theory we find identical in the social action theory. Social action theory offers has a focus on employees' effort and commitment as it relates to equitable and fair working conditions. Closely associated with the social action theory as positive effects include high work satisfaction, reduced turnovers, and enhanced commitment, happy feelings, and improved performance. The current studies, which is based on the social action theories (SAT), seek to determine how training and development the workplace and job satisfaction directly affects employees' retention. This theory is the most dominant following for the topic part-time job effects on employees' performance. We measure the result, the performance employees. For second theory is equity theories. Equity theory for part-time employees feel relatively disadvantaged seeing their happiness in the lower than the full-time employees because they view their full-time workers as their reference group. Based on the impression of the ones input into connection and the output of those interactions, compare again the ratio of other people's contribution and output. The equity theory describes how individuals perceive fairness in the social action relationship. This equity theory will influence the satisfaction of individual perception within part-time job and full-time job. That theory is motivation hygiene theory. The two-factor theory of motivation covers the element of the job that both build and break employees' happiness. These are direct voice and sanitary factor. Hygiene issues in the workplace, when adequately treated, may make workers unhappy, but they are insufficient on their own satisfy workers. In contrast, motivators such as the nature of the job provide satisfaction and increase motivation. According to Hirschberg, finding purpose in the one job is the source of satisfaction. As a result, the indicators of satisfaction are quite different from those of the dissatisfaction. These feelings are not diametrically opposed. In the oldest word, neither job satisfaction nor non-job satisfaction is polar opposite or road of unhappiness. Last dominant theory is PE fit theory. PE fit theory can be loosely described as the degree of which an individual and his or her work environment are compatible. PJ fit, PO fit, person group fit, person supervisor fit, and person vacation fit are real subtypes and fall under the conceptual umbrella term of FPE fit. Since PO PJ fit are the most commonly investigated, we choose to concentrate on them in this study. Despite having a positive relationship, These various fit subtype and distinct concerns that by focus on the various part of the workplace have distinctive effects on the outcome variables, despite being positively related. These different subtypes of fit are separate constructs that have unique effect on the outcome variables because they tap into different aspects of the work's environment. For consensus framework, I have provided one device and four IVs for this framework. I will explain IVs. The relevancy of having diverse workforce is frequently discussed in the light of number of factors, such as gender diversity, which show a favorable relationship between firm and performance diversities. Numerous studies have examined the connection between organizational effectiveness and the individual diversities of the employees' performance. There is a correlation between perceived diversities and reported performance benefit of the company, since there is evidence that business with workplace diversity policies outperform those without such policies. This incomplete knowledge of how diversities affect performance might be the reason why earlier studies have yielded contradictory findings, taking into account that business by makeup will cause them to perform differently. Conspiration will affect employees with their romantic results are defined by effective execution of the organization pay structures, which is then help business compete and prosper. The date of actual data and how they perceive the remuneration structures affect an employee's outcome. The job performance of workers who work with the customer will improve and the desire to leave will decrease if they believe they are being paid fairly. Leakage of culture plays an important role in workplace motivation where we fair pay, job content, work condition and relationship and weekly influences of the motivation. Employees' work performance will improve and the likelihood of leaving the company will decrease thanks to effective and satisfying communication. These relationships are presented in the model work-life balance satisfaction influences the value of job satisfaction, a positive behavioral state of an employee. It has the potential of changing the employee's performance and the work-life balance relationship. For work-life balance refers to how much time an employee has to juggle the responsibility of job and families. Thus, a worker work-life balance is determining how much time they spend at home, when work spill over into the family sphere, when family problems spill over into the work sphere, stress and a favorable work attitude might develop. These factors are significantly linked to burnout. Employees may be encouraged to acquire and applies the new basic knowledge from fast training to the workplace to use potentially successful social learning technique. According to the study for working environment, peers and supervisory were found to be the most valuable factor for helping human resource managers understand how the workplace affects employees' capacity to apply and transfer knowledge, learn their job. He demonstrated the connection between the elements affecting the workplace and transfer of this information acquired during training, as well as how peer and supervisor support help employees perform better. The outcome which was also in the line which suggested that a good working environment can help workers to learn from the other skill, experience and practical knowledge and enhance their capacity to apply new information to their employment by shedding light on hitherto and studies attention like active social networks and artistically oriented organizational work environment. They also contribute to corpus of the research on work life. Lastly, for the chapter 2 literature reviews is hypothesis development. This is how we can find the significant or not with our title. For hypothesis 1 is there a significant relationship between diversity part-time employees in the FM industry. For this explanation, the authors conclude that the unequal position of women in science will be based on quality differences between male and female resources that may partly be based on our careers and related choice, and partly on discriminatory arrangement not in science but in society at large. This equity theory have related the diversity will influence employees' performance. Hypothesis 2, there is significant relationship between the work-life balance part-time employees in the F&B industry. This factor motivation hypothesis proposed that more motivation led to greater work satisfaction, and hygiene factor including waste and working environment contribute to employees' satisfaction at work. Hezwig soon highlighted that And happiness is not precisely the opposite of the contentment. An improvement in hygiene standard by itself does not ensure satisfaction. For hypothesis 3, there is a significant relationship between factor compensation part-time with employees' performance in the F&B industry. According to the social exchange theory, when employees psychologically expect that investing in the high job engagement will result in high organization reward of that investing in low job engagement will also result in low organization reward. They are more likely to be actively engaged and produce task performance. This is so because the relationship between the business and employees is one of equal social exchange. Sorry, social exchange relationship have relationship between factor compensation to employees' performance. Hypothesis 4. There is significant relationship between working environment, part-time employees, and the F&B industry. PE fees are likely to be adversely affected by fall performance or effects, and vice versa. On the other side, those who regularly feel uneasy and productive at work are more likely to recognize a structural lack of PE feed. Since workers are more prone to feel high level of PE feed in this situation, managing must establish working environment that fundamentally support positive effect and efficient performance. The story PE feed have relationship for working environment will influence employees' performance. Next is Sector 3 methodology. Used in my final year projects, the methodology is a crucial component of any research or projects, as it outlines the approach taken to achieve this project objectives. So let's dive into the details. The first aspect we'll discuss in the research design. For my projects, I opted for a design which is quantitative. This decision was based on the nature of the project and the research question I am to the answer. The choose research design provided a solid foundation for gathering data and conducting subsequent analysis. Moving on to the data collection. We're not doing the real surveys. It employs several methods to acquire the necessary data. This method included collection method, surveys, interview, observation, existing dataset. By utilizing a combination of these methods, I aim to answer the comprehensive and available data. The ethical consideration will also take into account the protect right and privacy of the participants involved. Once the data was collected, the next step was data analysis. This allowed me to organize, process, and derive meaningful insight from the data. The decision analysis method were selected based on their relevance to the research question and the type of the data collected. Data tabulation and testing play a vital role as is the effectiveness of the project to gauge the project performance. Users feedback surveys and usability testing were also conducted to gather insight from the potential end user. Based on the evaluation result, I made a certain modification and improvement to enhance the project functionality. This research study data will analyze using correlation analysis, where it will examine the relationship between part-time job and employee performance. There's a Pearson correlation coefficient will be used to calculate the strength and direction of the union and identify the significant correlation between specific work environments aspect and employee performance dimension. This is a reference from final year project 1, and that's all for me. Thank you for watching.